Good evening. First, I'd like to assure you that Trudy and I are doing well at the governor's residence tonight. We're just fine. Thanks for people who've shown some concern. We know today's been a very tumultuous day for Americans and Washingtonians for obvious reasons. On a day in our nation's capital where we were to effectuate the most important act of our democracy, which is the peaceful transfer of power, it was forcefully interrupted by those who refuse to accept verdicts of the people, verdicts of the courts, and the truth itself. Here in our capital, in Washington, on a day that was to be dedicated to preparing for the opening day of our legislative session, so that we could address our challenges, including the pandemic, that work, unfortunately, was interrupted by similar acts of attempted intimidation. But I have some good news tonight to share with my fellow Washingtonians. Those acts of intimidation will not succeed in any way, shape, or form. We will continue the work we're doing to protect the health of Washingtonians. In our nation's capital, Congress will follow the will of the American people and take yet another step along the long march to protecting people's rights of self-government that has so far succeeded through frequent moments of tension in our nation's history. Now, I know we are going through a moment of great turmoil. Passions are high, part because we have suffered serial and constant untruths being told to citizens from the highest office in the land. But I am confident that we are on the verge of overcoming this, as we have in the past, and we will restore the ability to perpetuate self-governance. I'm confident that our work here in the state's capital will be similarly productive, beginning next week when legislators, Republicans and Democrats, meet to work to fashion joint resolutions to our mutual challenges. I revile these acts of sedition and intimidation that we've seen in our nation today, and I call on all elected leaders to condemn this. I especially encourage Republican leaders to do some serious soul searching. It's time for them to allow anyone to pander to these falsehoods. And this should be about more than one expired presidency. Everyone has a role to play in getting disinformation out of our civic discourse. I don't think it's asking too much of Republican leaders to show this act of courage, and thank those who have. I believe that together this spirit will lead to successful efforts here in our state's capital and in our nation's capital. And I'm greatly appreciated those who've seen to our safety, the State Patrol. And I want to thank the members of the press who had to go through some intimidation of their own today to report the facts. We appreciate that. And I want to express, if I can, a personal sentiment that I felt very strongly today, and I think that many feel. And that is a sense of deep outrage and, frankly, anger at the sight of people seizing the citadel of democracy, showing an oafish behavior in the chamber of the United States Senate, where so many leaders, Republican and Democrat, have participated in great debates. Today was no debate of ideas. It was a juvenile and attempted dangerous intimidation. And I know that we have to work together to find solutions to the benefit of our citizens, Republicans and Democrats alike. And in that spirit, I think it would be well tonight, amidst the troubling news of the day, to hearken back to what President Abraham Lincoln said during another time of great national turmoil. He said this: "Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone, all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union, when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature." So on this day of great assaults on our democracy, Let us all seek the higher plane, which calls us to a common ground, even in the face of this outrageous conduct. This is a most difficult task, but we are called to it tonight, and our nation is up to that task, and our state is up to that task. So be well. We are going to get through this. Thank you, and good night.